All righty, we should be good to go. Let me make sure this is all plugged in. Let me try to pull that aside actually a little bit. There we go. Take a little slack off that. All righty, we got that. That looks good. Let me make sure we're live and I can hear myself. Double check this, double check that. Should start sending the stream to. Alrighty, that should be good. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now we're live. What's up, everybody? Let me double check the sound real quick. All right, we're good. We're good. We're good. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Obviously, I know this was a little abrupt. I didn't even announce it. So let me send out a couple messages as letting people know that we're going live and all that good stuff. Then we'll kind of get started. What's up, Happy? What's up, dude? Yeah, I think I'm going to just send in a little bit of a message out to Twitter and then out to my Discord server, just letting them know that we're live. I don't really have a super big plan today. Just kind of jump on, talk about what I'm seeing in the market. Weird market today. Some crypto's doing good. Some of them doing kind of shitty. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we'll go a little bit into some technical analysis. You know, we'll do all that good stuff. And then we'll look at some news. Kind of just hang out, yeah? We don't have to get too crazy today. Yeah. We are going to do another meme coin stream pretty soon here, me and Mo, which will be fun. But I'll get into that in a second. All right. Everyone live now. What's up, everybody? Just sending out a couple messages, just letting people know I'm live, just so they don't miss it. Live. Oh, also, look, if you haven't followed me on Twitter yet, go follow me on Twitter. It's at TylerHillYT. I plan on doing a lot more stuff with my Twitter side of things now. I feel like I just don't really capitalize on it enough, and I don't use it as much as I should. So I'm kind of getting back into it. I'm going to start posting announcements, early videos sometimes, just, you know, that kind of good stuff. So if you haven't followed me, again, it's at TylerHillYT. You can go ahead and go check me out if you want. If not, I don't really care. But again, I thought it'd be something that I'll mention to you live now. All righty. That'll be good. Boom, boom, boom. How's everybody doing today? Sheeb, Soul, and Jupe. There we go. All right, boom sauce. We are ready to rock and roll. I don't think it's going to be a very long stream today, just because there's not necessarily – it's not much more to talk about than what we've been talking about, but I definitely wanted to kind of, again, just jump on, let you guys know what's going on, look at the charts, talk about what I'm buying, all that good stuff. So we'll obviously get into that in a second here. Kind of jumping into it. Yeah, of course. It's been a bit of a red day today, but – overall, looking real good. Happy said, all good here, brother. Looking good, feeling good. Waiting for the bleed to finish to dive back in. You damn right. Hello. What's up, Mom? What's your take on the market? Bullish? I'm going to go over that in a second. But yeah, overall, extremely long-term bullish. My price prediction is higher than yours. It depends on what we're talking about because I can get a little wild, brother. Shout out to you, Mr. Terps. Please, can you take a look at Koval and Coinbase? I'm super bullish. Yeah, let me check it out. Just remind me whenever we're doing. Remind me when we're looking at cryptos and stuff. I'm not too hype with Soulflare. Any better staking options out there? What do y'all think? What do you guys think? I'm liking all the live interactions. Sincere, man, I've really been enjoying it. You know, I feel like I can get better. How do I explain it? I feel like I can get better and like more information and more value across to my community through doing live streams rather than trying to upload 3 or 4 videos a day. I think this is a little bit more valuable. And then also from a business standpoint, it's harder for my channel to post 3 or 4 videos a day because average views across those videos may drop, and you obviously don't. That's not the best look on the surface. Whereas I can do 2 videos a day in a live stream that covers 3 videos worth of stuff. Now we're talking, because views on live streams don't matter like at all. No one cares how many live stream views you get unless you're like doing a monthly sponsor or something like that. So anyway, yeah, just it's a little bit more efficient from a personal perspective and a business perspective. But anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Let's kind of take a look at the market. Let me get a couple things pulled up. So we're going to get Coin Market Cap pulled up. Just get a look at that. I actually haven't been around too much today, so I'm not exactly sure what's happening in the market. So we're going to go through it together, peeps. Couple things we're going to do. All right, let's do this and let's do this. We're going to go through some news, kind of see what's going on in the news today. We're going to look at the market. It's going to be a good stream. Hopefully about 45, 50 minutes. Yeah, then we'll wrap it up. Okay, let's get into it. Let's just do shift two, probably. Yeah, okay. We'll get into the news in a little while. Shout out to these guys. This is not a sponsor, but cryptonews.com, dude, they upload so much news every single day. It's ridiculous. And they kind of keep me updated, like when I'm looking for video content and stuff. So definitely a good place to go. We'll check them out in a little while and kind of go over some daily news and stuff. But before we get into the news, let's kind of just take a look at what the market's doing. Obviously, not very good across the board, but there are some standouts that are doing well. We can see, of course, on the hourlies. Let's look at the 24 hours. Bitcoin down about 4%. ETH down about 5%. BNB down about 1%. Solana still tanking ahead with a 5% gainer, currently sitting at 178 bucks. XRP down 5%. ADA 5%, Dogecoin 7%. So looking like in the top 10, roughly like the pullbacks of anywhere from 5% to 7%. So not too bad. Honestly, not too bad. I think those type of pullbacks are necessary. The only thing that kind of concerns me right now is that people are treating this like it's the worst thing ever. You know, like over the last 2 weeks or so, anytime we see pullbacks like this where the market say, pulls 3 to 5%, people just freak the frick out. They just come in here and they're just like, yo, what's going on? Why's the market dumping? And I'm like, dude, this isn't a dump. Like, I know. My title says like it's dumping, or the thumbnail says it's dumping. Listen, I'm just being competitive in the YouTube algorithm. It's not a dump, man. That's not a dump. It's not a real dump. This isn't something to be scared about. It's literally just it's just a cool down. It's just a pullback, which is what we need to see happen. Like you're supposed to see these things happen as the market does continue, because you need to see, of course, that momentum slow down, let the buy orders get ready to go again, like some liquidations happen, right? Like those are the type of things you need to see happen. And so when we see these types of pullbacks and people freak out, it kind of freaks me out a little bit, because that type of volatility and people getting emotional in either direction is what causes huge moves to the upside and huge moves to the downside. That's what causes, the worst volatility. That's what causes liquidations. That's that's kind of what I noticed. And so I don't like the fact that people are freaking out about these little punk ass 3 to 5% pullbacks. But yeah, outside the top 10, looking pretty decently. Obviously some things like Shiba Inu and Doge and some of your other memers are down about 9 to 10%, but that also does equate for, some of your ones that aren't memers, so outside the top 10 looking a little bit rough. I definitely do like to see that. What you will notice is the lower down on the list you get, and the further down the market cap you get, the bigger the bigger the pullbacks are happening. And in my opinion, I think it's actually a good thing. So what you're seeing is like number 2 is falling less than number 3. Number 3 is falling less than number 4, et cetera, right? And the reason I think that's beneficial is because it shows that the money flow is still normal, right? Whereas if in general you have Bitcoin moves and then you have your top alts and you have your mid caps and you have your micro caps and you have your meme coins and you have your pre-sales, right? So you're going to see the money again trickle down from each one of those layers to each other. The thing about it is you also want to see that in those moments where when people are, moving money out the market and stuff like that, they're moving it in the same order. And the reason being is because that's just general risk tolerance, right? And I like to see healthy risk tolerance. I like to see Bitcoin falling less than altcoins. I just like to see that because it tells me that we are still in that beginning phase of the market and we're not too close to that altcoin season, or we're not too close to the peak. Because what happens there in that part, that's usually the end of the season, right? Or the end of the bull run. And what that usually looks like is Bitcoin just like getting dominated by altcoins. And I do want that day to come eventually. I'm just not ready for it now personally. Like I would rather us not see that happen just yet. I'd rather see the funds flow normally. And so we can continue this current little bull market that we're in for hopefully another couple, 6 months or 10 months or a year and a half, whatever it may be, right? And so the fact that we're seeing normal fund flow is important to me, and I'm glad we are, personally speaking. Now, speaking of fund flow, let's kind of jump out of let me move my computer to me a little bit and hopefully I don't unplug anything. Okay, I think we're good. Moving out of the top 10 a little bit over the last day, pretty interesting moves going on here. What we can see is obviously rather red market, but some standouts. You have SEI in the green, we have Jupe in the green, Hex in the green, Solana barely sitting green, we have CFX in the green, and pretty much red across the rest of the board. I mean, AVAX is actually doing pretty decently on the dailies. Pipe is also doing a little decently on the dailies and AKT, but overall a general pullback. Now, you guys remember what I told you, right? I said there's a way that you can identify whether this is just a pullback or not. You don't have to look at charts. You don't have to be a technical analyst. You don't need to understand candles. You don't need to understand lines. It's quite simple. Whenever you're sitting on something like cryptobubbles.net, all you're going to do is you're just going to go to the weekly. And if when you go to the weekly, you automatically see a lot of these cryptos immediately flipping green, then that goes to show, okay, well, this isn't anything to be worried about, right? The whole market's not red on the weekly. We're not seeing a macro shift in sentiment. Many of these ones are still up an absolute ton just in the week, right? And it just goes to show that this magnitude isn't magnitude. Now, another thing, and what I really like to do is I don't really worry that overall sentiment is really flipping until we see the monthlies flipping red. And as you can see here, we're not even close, right? You still see things like Pepe and Floki and ZRX and AGIX and World and Bonk and Sol and FET and Jupe and all these other ones. They're up substantially in the last month. So anyone who just entered into the market last month on any of these is still up, right? And so because of that, it just goes to show, although the gains are diminishing, it's not this big scary pullback like it might feel, and it's just a decent time to start dollar cost averaging. And so because of that, I know on the day it feels bad, but again, realistically, not really all that bad. And that's usually what I do. That's usually how I gauge my feelings towards what the market's doing. Now, I remember in the bear market when this all flipped red for the first time, and I was like, oh shit. It's really like now it's really game the fuck on, right? Like now it's gonna get really ugly. We're not there yet. We're not really there yet. And so that's why, because of that, I'm just like, it is what it is. It just is what it kind of is. You know what I mean? Here we go. So let's kind of get into the next thing, shall we? So like I mentioned before, market's looking decently. Obviously, the market cap's getting real ugly. Obviously, Bitcoin's leading the charge in loss of market cap, but obviously some of your top 10s are also seeing a little bit of pullbacks, but nothing too substantial, nothing too concerning. Now, let's kind of take a look at the charts. We'll look at the charts first. We'll do a little bit of technical analysis, and then we'll get into the news. Unless you guys think we should do the news first. It's up to you guys. I actually haven't done a stream like this where it's just kind of a general stream where I don't have a main topic to talk about. So let me know what you guys think. What do y'all want to see? Y'all want to see the news, or do y'all want to see the technical analysis first? With that in mind, as I mentioned before to you guys, make sure you do go follow me at Tyler Hill YT. I have some stuff coming out soon. I have some threads. I have all that good stuff. I'm really trying to up my Twitter game. So make sure you go drop me a follow, and I would really appreciate it. But like I mentioned before, we are going to get into some news in a little bit here. So we got TA first. Okay. News first. It's a battle. Look, I'm going to go. Actually, I'm drinking a gallon of water today. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back in like 30 seconds, and we're going to decide what we're going to do. But I'll be right back. All right. What we got? What we doing? Let's see. You guys know I have the someone remove the seat. What? That's insane, Duke. TA seems like what people want to see. That's what we're gonna do first. Okay, let's get into it. So let's start off with total market cap and just get a feel for what the market's doing. Okay. Boom. You guys should be able to see this pretty dang good. Can I maybe zoom this in just a little bit more? Is that a possibility? I would love to be able to give you guys a little bit more of a. One sec. I won't let me zoom in that way. Okay, no worries. Okay, so let's get into what is happening. So, looking at total market cap here, let's actually go out to the 4 hours because this is a little bit of a bigger, pullback. And what you can see is we are actually starting to show signs of that, that real rollover, right? Obviously, a lot of the time, whenever we were making these moves to the upside, we were going, a little bit side. Shout out to you, Duke. We were going sideways more often than not, especially throughout these moves. Sideways melt up, sideways melt up, sideways melt up. But obviously, this little spike that we saw right here was the first example. Hey, it's the momentum's changing just a little bit. This move that we saw right here, where we just dropped like a fly. I mean, although we did recover, seeing a pullback of 14% in the span of 4 hours on one of the $1 trillion market is definitely something that you need to pay attention to. And the fact that we again recovered is good, but the fact that it happened in the first place, which was a lot different than what we've been seeing throughout the entire month, was this first sign to be like, okay, we're probably in a spot to where we're going to start to see this market slow down a little bit. And so although we did continue to the upside, we did get a beautiful Fibonacci extension off of this. If I show you, if I remember correctly, it was here to here. Yeah, we got a beautiful Fib extension. You know what I mean? So we broke through, back tested the 618, held it, broke through, came back, back tested again, held through, broke up 1.272, broke up to the halfway point, came back down, lost that, and now we're here. Just saw the wick off of the 618 to 786 zone. I mean, we extended extremely well. And although, yes, we could have technically gone a little bit higher, it is no shock to see the crypto market kind of pulling back right now. And it's something that I definitely was somewhat anticipating, like I've been mentioning a lot on the streams. Now, is that to say that this thing can't, recover? No. Is that to say that this thing can't build, continue? No, it definitely can. And of course, our long-term outlook is bullish, right? Our long-term thesis is that the market will continue upwards. You need to know that at this point, buying, towards these top sides and stuff like that is risky. And now that we're finally starting to see the pullback, now it might get a little bit ugly, right? We might see a little bit of a pullback. We might see a little bit of an ABC correction back to the downside, back test some of these lower lows. Look for that to use as continuation, right? These things become available now. Now that we've seen the market kind of slow down and momentum kind of change, now that this little, rollover has happened, we might see that. And so the only thing that you realistically need to do is understand that this little moment of euphoria, this little moment where the market was really just going straight up ever since, realistically the middle of January, it could be slowing down now, right? And it might be coming towards a point in which we're going to get a little boring or we're going to get a little sideways, and you just need to be prepared for that. Like I said, no guarantees, but it is something you should be prepared for. Now, looking specifically into the market, let's kind of see what Bitcoin itself is doing. Let's actually do Bitcoin first, and then we'll do Bitcoin dominance. So looking at Bitcoin itself, I mean, this is a rather predictable move. Okay. I told you all whenever we did TA the last time, like, hey, listen, we had this ascending channel right here. We broke to the downside of that channel and we closed below it. There were many times where we wicked below it. We recovered it right here. And once we recovered it, we wicked below it here and we wicked below it here because the door was open to the bottom side. But we never really got the breakdown. Well, as you can see here, we got the break to the downside. We came back. We back tested this previous point of support. We got the close under this point of support, now flipping this into resistance, so an SR flip. And now we're seeing Bitcoin's price getting forced to the downside. This is a typical breakout. I mean, this is almost exactly what you would expect from an ascending channel, right? You break to the downside, you come back to a previous point of support, use it for support, break back up towards it, fail it, get some resistance, continue to the downside. That's a very, very normal, and it isn't something that really is all too surprising. And the good part about that is it just means that it's although yes, it is, scary to see the price falling, it's at least normal and glad to see, even in moments of euphoria like this, the charts are moving as they should be. You know what I mean? The Bitcoin's moving as it should be. This is normal. Ascending channels typically break down to the downside and come back to these previous points of support. It's just kind of what they normally do. And so this does give me a little bit of satisfaction just knowing it's moving as it should. Now, at this given point, obviously, I do think it's a good time to be DCAing into some Bitcoin. That is something that I've told you all on multiple occasions. We are starting to get like these little moments in which we're not getting that DCA plus feature yet, but we're what we're doing right here is, in my opinion, like the beginning of just a little medium slash midterm slash micro pullback that is likely going to just be nothing but a higher low in the grand scheme of things, right? I think even if what Bitcoin's doing right now is getting set to do this, something along these lines, boom, 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 I'm not really all too concerned about it. I honestly don't care. I think even in this situation, again, my long-term thesis is bullish. And so because of that, I do think that this is a good time to start DCAing into Bitcoin. We're hitting these previous points of support. We're coming back down to these lower liquidity levels. And at every single time we hit one of these lower liquidity levels, which is where the support was established on this trend line, like we saw right here, and like we saw right here, every time we come back to one of these levels in between now and $61,000, we have an increased likelihood that we're going to get the bounce to the upside, right? We have an increased likelihood that we're going to recover or go sideways before inevitably making the move to the upside. And so because of that, I'm not really all too concerned about this. What I'm seeing from Bitcoin is nothing but healthiness. And I personally would be dollar cost averaging right here. And so I am dollar cost averaging right here. Now, I am going to take a little bit of a tailored approach to the way that I'm dollar cost averaging. And that's going to be to just buy a little bit of Bitcoin at each one of these key support levels. So if we do go ahead and let's just kind of mark out each one of these support levels for you, we have obviously the one we're at right now, right under 68.5K. I would be doing some DCAing there. Then you have 66.5K. Moving a little bit lower, you have 64K. And then moving a little bit lower, you have 61.75K. And yeah, although its price could easily, maybe go through all of these levels to the downside, it's still going to have served, in my opinion, as a beautiful little time to be accumulating, kind of similar to what we saw in the past. And so because of that for Bitcoin, these are the levels that I will be accumulating a little bit at. And I do have further confirmation of that because of what is happening on the DCA plus feature on HGAlgo. So if I clear all this off, what you can see is that the DCA plus feature just flashed for HGAlgo. You guys know HGAlgo is the indicator myself and my company designed to tell me good times to buy crypto. I don't have time. I'm running a company these days. I don't have time to stare at charts anymore. And so I needed an indicator that would tell me, like, hey, this is a good time to buy crypto, or this is a good time to take profit. And this is what it does. And so whenever it has these little moments where it flashes like this, I take them to heart. I know, like, okay, this could be a beautiful time to DCA in. And obviously, since all this has happened, its price did make a nice little rally, right? We saw that little move upwards of, 3 to 4%, but I don't care about that. I don't care what happens in the short term. I care about getting in some of these decent entries, especially on like something like Bitcoin, over the accumulated time frame, right? So even if something happens like this, if DCA plus feature goes off here and here before this happens, right, and we make this move to the upside, I would be extremely happy with having bought at these lows, preparing for this next move, just similar to what happened back here, right? I mean, literally the same exact thing happened prior. And I was buying here, then I bought some more here, then I bought some more here. And even though the price was slowly decreasing, it eventually led to gains, right? And so as a result of that, knowing that typically what will happen here is Bitcoin will pull back to some of those support levels, and we're getting HD algo flashing, I think that it's a good time to be dollar cost averaging in. Now, you can use HD algo with the link down below if you'd like to. You can get 20% off, obviously. The link would be in the description below for you. But these are the levels that I'm looking to DCA in on some Bitcoin at. And like I said, at any given point, I think we could see this market rally. Now, to flip off of Bitcoin, let's kind of take a little bit of a look at what's happening here with Bitcoin dominance, because it does paint a very interesting picture for us. Okay. So there's something kind of playing out for Bitcoin dominance right now that's very interesting to say the least. And what we're seeing is this channel on the 4-hour charts from roughly, let's call it from the last 16 days. Okay. Now, what's happening is that, if you don't remember, Bitcoin dominance, quite simply, is how Bitcoin is performing against the rest of the market. So if Bitcoin dominance is going up, it means Bitcoin's outperforming the market. If Bitcoin dominance is going down, it means Bitcoin is getting beat by the market, meaning altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin, to keep it simple. Okay. And what we can see is that Bitcoin dominance is actually like giving us an interesting structure right now, in the sense that we have this major level of resistance sitting directly above us. I mean, directly above us at that 55% level. And at this exact moment, we do seem as if we could be putting in, some type of little descending channel here, which does have a history of breaking to the upside. And so, because this is all going on, I'm watching Bitcoin dominance extremely closely, because I think the next major move it makes is going to be super implicative of what the rest of this cycle looks like. I think if Bitcoin dominance can make this break back above 55%, it opens up a door for this thing to clear, 58, 59, 60%, obviously meaning Bitcoin is absolutely outperforming the rest of the altcoin market. And that could be a sign of a couple different things. And so I'm watching this extremely closely. We don't have clarity yet. We don't know what this means yet, but what we do know is that if Bitcoin at any given point makes this move, boom, and Bitcoin dominance clears 55%, we're going to have cleared a major level of resistance and support, and that opens up a door for a continued move for Bitcoin to continue to outperform altcoins. And so I definitely, in my opinion, knowing that this is on the table, I surely think it's still a decent time to be averaging into Bitcoin more than altcoins until we see confirmed rejection, and then at that point, altcoins will outperform Bitcoin. So obviously, I'll keep you updated clearly as this does play out, but I am watching it extremely closely, because again, that breakout could be super implicative that Bitcoin's going to continue to outperform. So watch it closely. But now that we have a kind of a broad sense of things together, just kind of knowing what's happening with total market cap, what's happening with Bitcoin itself and Bitcoin dominance, let's talk about some of our alts. Okay. So I made a full video on Solana earlier today, so not going to dive super duper deep into this one. Just kind of go check that out if you'd like. But at the end of the day, what we are seeing from Solana, in my opinion, is getting a little bit, I don't want to say troubling, but it's definitely getting me a little bit concerned about how Solana is going to react from here. Now, what I said in the video before was that Solana was making a very similar pattern to the ones that it's made over the last few years, right? I said, look, Solana does this thing where it goes and makes these RS flips. And the moment it stops RS flipping, the run is over. And what I mean by that is there's a thing called an RS flip, which is when a point of resistance gets flipped into a point of support. So you see how we touched this as resistance and we got rejected? We broke above, we came back right here and established it as support. That's called an RS flip. And Solana does this thing where it'll RS flip over and over and over again over each level up until the point where its actual run is over. Then it'll fail the RS flip. So what I said this morning in that video, and make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss the next one, is that I said, look, we had these points of resistance. One right here, and one right here. And this is going to be very, very important to pay attention to, because every time we establish one of these points of resistance, we get these moments where we go in and establish support. We go in right here and we establish support. We go in and we establish support. We go back up to the upside here, this previous point of resistance. We establish it right here as support. And so what I said is, as Solana is going parabolic, we obviously need to, be excited and be, grateful that this is all happening, but be aware that we're getting a little euphoric, we're getting extremely vertical. And because of that, we could easily see Solana flip to the downside at any given point. And the way you can identify whether or not Solana is flipping to the downside is whether or not it comes back down and loses one of these major points of resistance as support. What I would actually go ahead and say is that right now, the key level of resistance we need to watch out for is $173. You can see that we established this resistance here. Boom, we got rejected off of it. We came back down. We back tested some support, use it for the growth to the upside. Not only did we just get a random move to the upside here on Solana, you can actually see this beautiful Fibonacci move, right? Let's go ahead and do this. You can see what happened. We came up to this 1.618 level and used it and ran into it as resistance as our full breakout being confirmed, right? And so because of that, knowing that this was such a strong interaction on the swing high to swing low, what I would currently say is that if Solana at any given point now comes back down and fails to hold $173, especially after what happened right here, we could be in a position where we do see Solana finally start to make that move to the downside, possibly falling as low as $154 or maybe even lower. Now, I will say it is a little bit weird to say Solana falling to $150 just because I remember, just a couple days ago it being going up towards 150. But you get the point, right? And so kind of where we are right now with Solana is I would be getting more and more cautious. We are seeing that momentum kind of slow down a little bit. We're kind of seeing this round off a little bit. And so if at any given point you see $173 lost, I think that would be a decent time to start looking to, to see Solana maybe even make a move back towards 154. At lowest, maybe, even $137 on that move. So wouldn't be doing a huge bunch of buying Solana right now personally until we get some type of clarity with this pretty bearish structure that we're seeing at this given point. Okay. Going into AVAX, let's continue on the ones that are doing well over the last 24 hours. AVAX is in a very similar spot and position. What you can see here is that it's made these very interesting move in the sense that it's kind of consolidated and gone sideways at the top of this move. But now you can see it is truly struggling. It's truly struggling to clear $58. And so because of that, and because we're getting all of these rejections to the downside, I mean, I surely wouldn't be going long on AVAX until one of two things happens. The first thing being that, of course, this price breaks $58 to the upside. It breaks this move. Then obviously the door is now open for a continuation. The door for AVAX would then be open for it to make a move of upwards, $60 to maybe even $67. So clearly, if we get this break here, we're in price discovery, in the short term, that could be a beautiful move. Or the other time that I would be going along on AVAX is if its price can successfully make a pretty damn big move to the bottom side, right? If we can see AVAX coming back towards, $43, $44, $45 towards this level, then I would be saying that these, we might be seeing another more, RS flip happening here with some type of possible continuation. But I surely wouldn't be going along personally right here. I surely wouldn't be going along where in this moment of confusion because it'll be easy to get liquidated. You might be thinking, well, Tyler, you're saying if it goes up, you're going to long, and if it goes down, you're going to long. And that is the truth, right? Because in the long term, my perspective is that we're going to see the price climb. The thing about it is, though, I don't want to see any liquidations happen. And, going along in a moment of unsureness right here, when you're not very confident as to what's happening, that's an easy way, in my opinion, for you to get liquidated, right? Say if the price does break to the downside, but you went long, now you got liquidated. Or let's say hypothetically, it doesn't, right? Let's say instead of waiting to buy down here, you say, oh, it's going to go down, then I'm going to short it, then it goes to short, then it breaks to the upside, and then you're wrong, and then you get liquidated, right? I don't want to see that happen. And so because of that, I'm saying I'm going to wait to see what happens. If it breaks to the downside, I'm looking for a move back towards $45, then I'll go long. If it breaks to the upside, then I'll go long, expecting that possible move up towards $66, in between 62 and 66 bucks up here. But going long right here is opening myself up to an opportunity to get liquidated, especially if you don't understand stop losses. And so it's not worth it to me. So for AVAX, I'm just kind of sitting back, relaxing, not doing too much. Not doing too much at all right now, honestly. Okay, let's go into something else. Let's go into Shiba Inu. Okay, so Shiba Inu, what's this thing doing? So it kind of, to me, at this given point, looks like Shiba Inu is having a very healthy correction, and that is definitely the case. But overall, it is something that I would definitely be a little bit, just somewhat cautious about right now, because at this given point, we're going to start to see Shiba Inu make a decision rather soon here, and I want you to make sure that you're ready for the volatility that's going to come with it, because at this given point, it does look like Shiba Inu is putting in what many people call a bullish pennant. And if that is the case, we could easily see its things break up to the upside and then continue this move. The issue with it, the issue that I have with Shiba Inu right now is that generally, if these bullish pennants fail, if they fail to establish support and break to the upside, then we'll usually get a pretty damn big move to the downside, right? You'll usually see something like this happen, in which it returns all the way back down to some of these lower levels that we've seen before, And so because of that, Shiba Inu is another fantastic example of one like, yes, I am buying it, right? We're seeing things like the HG Algo cluster going off, or the HG Algo DCA Plus cluster going off, in which, the multiple dollar cost average in signs are happening. But just because that is the case doesn't mean, the price can't continue downwards. And knowing that we don't have clarity right now on this structure, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm just going to wait for a Shiba Inu to make this breakout before I buy any or do anything. The two options that we have right now is that it's going to lose the structure and likely continue back down to a move that could easily be another fall of, 18 to 25%. I don't really like that option. And then the better option, and the one that I'm hoping for, is that its price does break to the upside here, break back above point, let's go ahead and call it 3420 right here. And if that is the case, now the door is looking wide open for it to make a run back up towards this range high. And so knowing that all we need to see is Shiba Inu make this break back above this key point of resistance, I don't see the point in taking the risk of going long or buying now, knowing that either option number one is going to happen, in which we're going to pull back, then I can buy lower, or option number two is going to happen, in which we're going to get a tiny breakup that's higher than we are right now, but the likelihood of me winning is much higher. You see, it sounds like a little bit more of a better option, in my opinion, to relax in this moment, let this structure break either to the downside or either to the upside, use that as leverage to obviously make some gains to the downside or to the upside. I hope that makes sense. Looking at something like Jasmy. Jasmy's in a very similar spot as something like, Solana and kind of the rest of the market. What I'm paying the most amount of attention to with Jasmy right now is the fact that, where we are at this exact moment is a little bit risky, right? Because if Jasmy doesn't start to figure it out pretty soon, we could see the door opened up to a bit of a pullback that could go back as low as, 7835, somewhere all the way back down here. And I know some people don't like to think that, but at the end of the day, I mean, you can see something real specific in the sense that this was a major point. This 7835 level was a major point of support. Look at all that support. And the moment we lost it, it became a major point of resistance. We're talking about resistance here, resistance here. I mean, going forward, resistance back here. And so by the time we finally break out of it and we start to see the market slow down, it is no surprise to see that Jasmy might make the decision to backtest his previous point of resistance and try to flip it into support. We see it all the time, right? We see all the time where there'll be something like this, maybe, right? Crypto does this, boom, 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 breaks out, comes back down, establishes support, and continues. That happens all the time. And so to me, to kind of say that Jasmy couldn't do it right now would be a little bit irresponsible. And I would actually go ahead and say that it's a big possibility. And so because of that, I am going to actually start to consider doing a little bit more of an increased dollar cost average. I think we might see this thing really ramp up towards the downside. We really might see Jasmy continue this pullback. And while we are getting the DCA plus feature flashing, I want to really start looking to accumulate, because I personally am not happy with my bag of Jasmy. I just don't feel like I have enough in terms of the ratio of my entire portfolio. And so because of that, I will use this as an opportunity to start slowly dollar cost averaging into some Jasmy, expecting that even if it comes back down this low, there will be liquidity, and it will attempt to use that liquidity to climb upwards, and I'll likely be profitable rather quickly thereafter. So because of that, although Jasmy's price is pulling back, I am actually going to use it as an opportunity to start building up that position in my portfolio like I wouldn't do with the others, right? I'm not going to do that right now with Solana or avax because I'm happy in my position, and I don't really feel the need to try to build up my bag in a more risky play. Whereas right now with Jasmy, I feel like it's more risky that I don't have enough. And so because of that, I'm going to start dollar cost averaging now as low as this thing may go, again, expecting it could be possible we see 7835 if market conditions do allow. But what I want you to always remember is that even in these situations in which the market is falling and things are getting ugly, I'm never going to guarantee that the market is going to fall, because at the end of the day, the way it's set up is that at any given point in a bull market, it might just turn around and shoot up 10%, 15%. We're in a bull market. Sentiment is incredibly bullish. And so because of all these things and knowing that this market is long-term macro grand scheme of things bullish, I'm not going to say I'm going to wait to buy Jasmy at 7-8. No, I'm not saying that at all. I would never do that right now. What I'm saying is I'm going to buy on the way down. And so if I'm right at some given point, we do see this market make a move to the upside, like I think I will be right, then obviously I got some beautiful dollar cost average entries. I mean, look how good the 4-hour chart has been for Jasmy. HG Algo, the DCA plus feature flashing there, DCA plus feature flashing here, DCA plus feature flashing here. I mean, all of these types of things are extremely, extremely good in history, right? Boom. Boom. And so because of that, if this is another move to the downside, I'm going to start buying now, expecting history to kind of repeat itself, putting in some beautiful buying orders right now and expecting growth over the longer term. So Jasmy's really the only one that I'm looking at right now, and like my little portfolio that I'm actually adding more to. And I think it's more because I just don't think I have enough Jasmy, if that makes sense. Looking at Kaspa. CASP was actually in a rather similar position in the sense that CASP was kind of made a bigger fall than the rest, right? CASP was made a little bit of a bigger fall than the rest. And it does seem like it is now making a crucial decision of what it's going to do. Where we're at right now with Caspa is that its price is now back testing a previous point of resistance, and you can see it quite clearly. We obviously had, resistance, and then we have this support establishment back here. So we know that this little 1315 level is extremely, extremely strong for Caspa. And so knowing it's extremely strong for Caspa, knowing we've struggled at it before, what I would say is that now is the time where you could play an interesting card. The card that I would personally play is buying with a stop loss set. Right? You see how I don't necessarily like always applying the same principles and rules to every crypto, because not every crypto is the same, right? We said hold off and sit back on Solana and AVAX, buy a little bit of Jasmy. And now what I'm saying for this one, for Caspa, is buying a little bit with a stop loss makes a ton of sense. What I would say with Caspa is that buying a little bit here with the stop loss set, probably around this little 12.5 area, or maybe let's just go as low as 12, somewhere right here, wouldn't be a bad idea. And the reason I say that is because you're betting whether or not this resistance is going to flip into support or not. If it does flip into support, this purchase you're going to make is going to go absolutely haywire and be extremely bullish because the higher low is established, and it's going to go back up, trying to re-clear 15, 16, 17 cents. So then you won. The other scenario is that this price is not going to hold its as support, break to the downside, back test and fail, and head back down towards some of these lower levels. And under the situation or under the circumstances that does happen, it means realistically that you close that position because the stop loss immediately closes the position for you once it falls below a certain price. And then you can rebuy at a better price towards the lower side and then see some growth to the upside. So it's realistically a win-win, in my opinion, with where we're at right now, because we're in a bull market. Things just usually go up in bull markets. And so right now, what I would say is it's not a bad time to make a little bet on this. If you want to bet that we're going to be able to see Caspa's price hold some support and continue upwards, buy a little bit right now and set a stop loss in. If you just want a dollar cost average in general and not have to do much else, this is a great time to dollar cost average. That 4-hour DCA feature is going off like crazy, giving us so many clusters in this area, showing that it's a good time to be buying. The market is red. That's a good time to be buying. This is a major level of support. That's a good time to be buying. You don't have to play that stop loss game. You can simply just add some to your bag, and if it falls, add a little bit more. So CASP was actually looking pretty damn good, and it's another one that I do think has that good buying potential right now. It's just a little bit more risky, so I would be considering putting a stop loss under what used to be resistance, what's now being tried to flip as support. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of the general things going on here. The last one we're going to go over is ETH, and ETH is in a similar spot to, all the other ones. The pullback is happening. The cool down has officially occurred. At this given point, if you're looking to dollar cost average on some ETH, I think we're finally approaching a point in time in which it's a decent time to be doing it. We can see that we have had some of these clusters printing already on the HG Algo DCA Plus feature. So knowing obviously that this could be a good time to buy, I think that, we're going to eventually see ETH clear $4,000, $5,000. I think it will happen eventually. And this could easily be the beginning of the last cool down before that happens, right? We could easily do something like this and then boom, make that real big run to the upside sometime around the halving or whatever it may be. And so because of that, even though it may continue downwards based off of what I am seeing with HG Algo and the DCA Plus feature, I do think this is a decent time to be buying. And so I am adding a little bit more ETH to my bag slowly but surely as we do keep putting in some of these lower lows. So that's kind of the way that I'm looking at it. I know a little bit less of like price predictions and price targets, but I more wanted to give you the overall sentiment that I'm feeling about each one of these cryptos, kind of just assessing each one and letting you know whether I would be buying, waiting, selling, buying with the stop loss, etc. And those are the majority of them. Now, on top of what's happening with Solana, right? We saw Sol doing well. We saw AVAX doing well. We're actually seeing Jupe doing well also. And I know you saw it in the thumbnail. So let me kind of get this pulled back up for you if I can. Here we go. So Jupe is actually doing pretty damn good too. And it's no surprise because it's obviously a Solana ecosystem coin. And what we can see is, this thing has gone absolutely vertical. It's gone absolutely vertical. Not only has it gone vertical, it's actually just cleared a very, very hard level to clear in general, which is the 1.272 Fibonacci extension level. And so knowing that it just cleared that, I would actually go ahead and say that Jupe's potential is to upwards of $1.40. Once you clear a major level like this, the door is wide open to the upside, right? The door is wide open to the upside. And so knowing that we just saw this key level broken at the 1.08 level or $1.08 level, in my opinion, I think that the door is now open for Juke to make that clearance up towards $1.40, which is still from here another 23 to 25% to the upside. The only thing about it is obviously is that this thing has gone very vertical. It's not seen a macro cool down. It's not really seen a main pullback except for this little one right here since it started this run way back here, a couple weeks ago. And so knowing that we're obviously taking a bit of a risk. If you're looking to buy Jupe right now, you're taking a little bit of a risk, expecting that it will continue to the upside, but knowing it's gone extremely vertical and could easily pull back at some point. So the way that I would be playing Jupe right now is very similar to the way I just said with Caspa. Knowing that it just broke a massive level of resistance, there's a very decent chance that it comes back to try to back test it. That current level of support is, let's call it $1.07. And so knowing this, in my opinion, what I would say is that if Jupe at any given point falls below $1.07, it could easily come pulling back not only to this little trend line around $1 or less than $1, but maybe even lower. And so what I would do is that if you have to buy Jupe right now, like you just have to get your hands on it, I think buying in right now with the stop loss set right around $1.06 to $1.05 would be a decent play to make. Obviously, you're betting that it's going to make that continuance to $1.40, but protecting yourself from the possibility that it could get this pull all the way back towards $1 or lower. And so Jupe, Caspa, Jasmy, the three ones right now that I think could be good, decent buying opportunities, but obviously establishing a stop loss on Jupe and then establishing one on, I believe it was Caspa as well. So was it Caspa? Was Caspa the one at the major point of support? Yeah, Caspa the one approaching that support level. So that's kind of the take that I have on it right now. Obviously, a bit of a more casual, traditional, not too crazy TA session today. Just kind of going over the general basics of how I'm feeling about each one of these cryptos and just letting you know whether or not I would be buying it or not. But obviously, we did get a couple recommendations. Someone said, let's check out Koval. And there are a couple ones that I wanted to tell you about as well. So let's actually just go ahead and move on. From the TA section, we'll talk about a couple of these smaller coins, some of the chat recommendations. We'll talk about maybe 2 or 3 of them. Then we're going to kind of wrap it up with a little bit of news and stuff. Before we actually go into Koval, there is one I forgot I wanted to mention. It was actually pretty interesting, and I'm planning on making a YouTube video about it tomorrow. So I was like, you know what? I'll give you guys a little bit of alpha on this thing. I'm going to be making some videos and coverage about Vitalik Smart Gas. Now, Vitalik Smart Gas is a really interesting project. It's a really interesting company, and they've honestly been performing quite well, especially even through like the little market dump that we're seeing. This is one of the ones that I am going to be adding to my small utility bag for layer 1s and layer 2s. And the reason being is because they're actually doing an extremely good job at building out the tech and the ecosystem to support their entire idea here. So what you can see here, and I'm just going to give you a quick brief summary. This is not sponsored. They did not pay me for this. I'm literally just adding them to one of my bags, one of my portfolios. So I figured I'd kind of talk to you about this. We'll check out Koval, see what that is, and then we'll get into some news. Okay, but anyway, so looking at this thing, it said Vitalik Smart Gas hyperdeflationary, empowers our entire ecosystem. They go on to say that holders of VSG benefit from transactions that take place on our chain, with $1 from every transaction going to buy and burn VSG, which not only supports the chart and the IP, but also makes it hyperdeflationary. The utilization of VSG in our layer 2 ecosystem ensures that the token is not merely a speculative asset, but a functional tool and a driving force behind Vitalik Smart Chain. Now, the reason why I did add them to my own portfolio is because they're taking a bit of a different approach. They're setting a fixed fee on every transaction, which obviously can be interesting, especially from multiple perspectives. But in terms of revenue generation, they're going to generate a lot of revenue if they can get the transactions up, get volume up, get a good ecosystem, a good community, things like that, right? And so knowing that they're kind of taking that approach, they can also then gauge, well, based off of certain levels of volume and transactions, they can take $1 from each one of those and apply it to buying back and burning the token. And so hopefully it creates kind of this own, self-fulfilling cycle where people start using the chain, they start spending money. $1 for every transaction starts buying back and burning the token. That starts to increase and prop up the price, making the chain better, making the token better, brings more people, etc., and it keeps the flywheel going, right? That's kind of the whole idea here. And so because I thought it was extremely interesting and because I do think it's a completely different approach from what I've seen before, I am actually going to be adding them to my bag, and I'm going to make some videos coming up pretty soon here about them, kind of talking about who they are and what they do. So I wanted to give you a little bit of heads up alpha about that. Just kind of one of the things I'm doing. Now, one of you in the chat was mentioning something called Koval. Circuits of value. Let me know if this is it. Let me know if this is it. So let's kind of see what this thing is. So 50 million market cap, sitting at number 649. Okay, let's go to their website. Discover, buy, and sell NFTs across blockchains. Trade your NFTs for Bitcoin, Namecoin, and more than 20 other blockchains across marketplaces. So this is built around the world of NFTs. Is interesting. So this works with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Namecoin, and Tezos. Okay, your NFT inside an Ethereum NFT, historical NFT visibility, trade across. they're not like super show full of exactly what they do, but I'm curious about the DeFi section. Emblem Vault is a customizable DeFi tool that can plug into any crypto ecosystem that provides privacy, staking, storage, borrowing, and lending. So Emblem Private allows users the freedom to privately transact in between the vaulting and unlocking process. Emblem Staking unlocks the world of multi-collateral yield farming, and then Emblem Wallets can store over assets from over 20 blockchains. Store over assets sounds weird, but anyway, store over assets from over 20 blockchains inside a single ERC 721 NFT. Okay, I mean, it seems pretty simple. I'd be curious. Yeah, this is what I wanted to see what type of if they have the product. While I let that load, let me see what this NFTs thing was about. Emblem Vault curated legacy collections description. The only critique that I have is that they're not making it like extremely clear exactly what it is they even do. They're kind of just like assuming people know, and I understand for the most part what they do, but I'm kind of looking at this from the perspective of someone who doesn't know. And so obviously, I feel like maybe a little bit more explaining, but this is pretty good right here. So it says that you can control NFTs across blockchains without a bridge. That's interesting. I wonder how that works. So I guess you can trade your native assets across multiple blockchains inside of one vault. So that's actually interesting. I get it now. I get it. Like I said, they could have explained it a little bit better, but I'll give it to them. It's actually interesting. So the way that it looks to me, and maybe Babywell can correct me if I'm wrong, is that they give you the ability to take, say, all of your NFTs, for example, and then put them into one little area, one application. And so you can see, what are my Ethereum NFTs doing? What are my Solana NFTs doing? What are my ADA NFTs? Whoever the fuck uses those? What are my ordinals doing? It kind of puts it all in one place and allows you to track it in one little area. That's actually pretty dang on interesting. That's actually pretty cool. And then obviously that makes sense the way in which they roll this in with the DeFi side of things. That actually makes a lot of sense. Okay. That actually makes a lot of sense. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I mean, obviously there are some things that need work, like the overall UI here. It could be just a little bit better in terms of design. I am no designer. I'm not someone who knows how to do it. So I'm just speaking as someone who's just giving a critique. I think this could definitely be better and make it a little bit more clear. Looking at the words is definitely not 100% clear. But it definitely is a good start. I would assume this is their MVP. Just kind of their beginning product, or maybe, kind of like second or third edition. So definitely going in the right direction, in my opinion. I like the utility. The only thing I wonder is, like, when they market themselves, are they marketing themselves about the NFT side or the DeFi side, right? Like, what's going into the majority of their energy? That'd be kind of interesting to find out about. But overall, I mean, this right here is also interesting. I'm kind of curious about how this works. I wish there was a little bit more information about how you can plug this DeFi tool into any crypto ecosystem. I would love to hear more about that and kind of like how that works. So maybe my critique would be just giving a little bit more information. Is it similar to how the NFT thing works? Just kind of things like that. So interesting. Definitely interesting. Is definitely something that I had be open to keeping my eyes on. 50 million market cap with the utility already somewhat developed. I think that's a valid valuation. And I think if they continue to kind of develop, then obviously that'll put them in a spot where they could do well. So definitely interesting. That's a good recommendation. And I think that they could do well. I think that they could do well. Obviously have a lot of room, to grow. They've been around for quite a long time, but, putting in some of the highest highs that they have since, back, obviously, excluding 2021, putting in some of this stuff, that's not bad. A nice little high comparative to, January of 2018. Cool. Yeah, good recommendation. Good recommendation. I like it. Yeah, me that way. All right. We're at 47 minutes here. We're going to do about 5 minutes of just looking at the news, kind of just see what's happened today in the world of crypto. Then I'm going to open up the chat for a quick little Q&A, and then that's going to be about it. Again, I just wanted to update you guys on what I was thinking about the market, update you, talk about why I'm not worried about it, kind of talk about what I am looking to buy, how I'm looking to buy it, stuff like that. Just real chill stream today. It's kind of been a little bit of a quiet day in this world of crypto. So let's see if anything interesting has happened in the world of crypto. Let's see. Some Mexi FUD. Nothing too crazy. What do y'all guys follow any Twitter accounts for your news, for your crypto news? I've been looking for more of them. I'm trying to, again, use Twitter a little more. But I've found that cryptonews.com works real well for me. And you can follow me on Twitter. Again, Tyler Hill YT. Check it out. Talking about that. That's interesting. Looks like nothing super interesting today, honestly. This is cool. So Binance Web3 wallet integrates Solana as network activity source. Binance has announced the integration of Solana network into its Web3 wallet. That's actually pretty damn cool. And I do like to see that. I like to see that just obviously because it opens up the exposure for Solana. I think a lot of people are going to enter into the world of crypto and hear about Binance, start using Binance, and then they're going to learn like what a Web3 wallet is, start using a Web3 wallet, and obviously providing them the ability to interact with Solana there is going to be important because Solana is kind of like a household name right now. You know, it's in the world of crypto, it's like leading the charge, best ecosystem out right now. I mean, doing absolutely phenomenal in terms of meme coins and NFTs and all that good stuff. So that's actually pretty damn good news. I do like to see this, and you know that's yeah, that's great news. That's honestly great news. That was well worth the look. Okay, this is interesting. WorldCoin addresses Orb's privacy concerns with third-party audit. WorldCoin has released the results of a third-party audit conducted by a trail of bits focused on the IRS scanning Orb technology. So I would assume I remember I heard a little bit of like FUD around WorldCoin, just kind of saying like they're not really safe and that there's all types of like shady shit going on in the background. Which honestly, bro, like in the bull market, every major company is doing a bunch of shady shit from what I can tell. Whether it's like shady to the point that it's hurtful to the community, maybe not. But shady to some degree, probably so. It's just what is happening with these bigger companies. So this wouldn't necessarily shock me at all, to be honest with you. Hong Kong doing Hong Kong things. What I will warn you guys about is Hong Kong is going to flip back and forth on crypto 25 times in the next 2 years. So I wouldn't take them too serious, in my opinion. And that was actually pretty interesting news too. That $300 million Ponzi scheme that they called Crypto Effects. That's pretty interesting. Okay. That's a bad idea. Okay. Well, it looks like the majority of the news for today, I would say the biggest piece of news is kind of what's happening over with Binance and them integrating Solana into their Web3 wallet. Pretty damn good news. So, I mean, overall, not too much, just a pretty chill day in crypto. So, overall, the majority of cryptos right now, in my opinion, if they're pulling back, if your favorite crypto is down, 10, 20, 30%, even 15%, 5, 10, 15%, I think now's a good time to start slowly dollar cost averaging. This pullback could continue, but at some point it will cool down. It will kind of stabilize, in my opinion. And I think from there, it would be a good time to really double down into the DCAs and double down into the accumulation phase. So I would say now starting like a little bit of accumulation wouldn't be a bad idea, but there are a couple exceptions like I did tell you guys about. Obviously things like Caspa, I would set a stop loss. You obviously have things like Jupe, like I mentioned before, I would set a stop loss. Some of the ones like that. But overall, I mean, your top 10 still holding up strong. Your top 10 still outperforming the rest of the market right now. So we're still at the beginning phase of this bull market, in my opinion, in which we're still seeing Bitcoin and top alts taking the lead. So still, whenever you're dollar cost averaging, I would still be going more heavily into those until that opportunity still does start to or starts to dry up. Once we start to see the shift in market sentiment towards more risk on plays, then we'll start to really focus our attention towards some of the ones outside the top 15, the top 10. Now, that's not to say that you can't, start dollar cost averaging, right? I'm buying a lot of stuff. I'm buying a lot of Kaspa and Jasmy and Fantom and all those ones outside the top 10. But when I'm dollar cost averaging on a consistent basis, most of my money's still going towards that top 10, top 15 area because that's what's outperforming the market right now. So overall, a pretty chill day. I'll happily open up the chat to any of you who do want to say anything. If you have any questions, we can do that. I think either tomorrow or the next day, me and Mo are actually going to come back on here and do another meme coin review thing, in which I don't know if you guys remember, but we made a little a portfolio basically based off of like the trades and stuff that we were doing. Not the trades, sorry, but like the meme coins that were being recommended to us by the chat. We made like this cool little portfolio that we were going to track, and I think I might be able to find it. I just got to remember what account I made it on. Give me 1 second. Let me try CoinGecko. Yeah, here you go. Okay, so check this out. So me and Mo on the previous live stream that we did, we put together this portfolio. So these were the only 3 that we actually liked from the live stream. They were the only ones that we thought had some potential. And so we started this little portfolio and had my assistant buying the crypto as we said we were going to buy it or not buy it. And what you can see is we bought a little bit of this one. So we bought $40 of seal with hat. We bought $80 or wait, let me see. No, let me do the math. Hold on. Yeah, we bought $80 roughly, I think, of seal with hat. We bought $60 of Red the Mal, and we bought $25 of Biat. And Red the Mal is down 50%, so we're down 30% or $30 on that one, but we're up $149 off of seal with hat. This thing absolutely blew up right after that stream, which was great. And then Biat's not really done too much. It's down like 30%, but we didn't invest that much in that one. So overall, the portfolio I think is profitable. Yeah, our portfolio is up $108. Which isn't really shit. And we're still expecting to lose a lot of money. We're expecting to lose the money that we invest into this little meme coin portfolio because the only way we're finding these cryptos is when they get recommended to us on stream. But it is pretty cool to see that, we're up $108 on it. And so we're actually going to do another one of the streams and probably either again tomorrow or the next day and kind of just hope, we find another couple cryptos that do well. So make sure you come jump in for that. It's really fun. We talk shit. We had a war between the Swifties. There was like ERC Swifties and BSC Swifties in the last one. We started like a war between them, which was extremely fucking funny. So yeah, just come stop by. It's always a good time. Always a good time. Prediction for Solana by Christmas. It's so hard to know, man. It's so hard. I think Solana will pass its all-time high this year, so my guess can maybe be anywhere from like 275 to 350, somewhere in there, but it's just very hard to know. It's just very hard to tell. Solana's new BOEM token surges 20x in 3 hours. Okay, it's probably new. A 20x in the first few hours isn't too hard, especially starting off with a very low market cap. But shout out to them, obviously. Congratulations to them. Maybe we'll check them out in the microcap and meme coin stream maybe tomorrow. Anyone get the IQ50 airdrop on Fantom? I've been hearing a lot about it. I haven't even checked my wallet, so I don't know. But personally speaking, a lot of those airdrops and stuff that we get, I just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. It's like, it's a free bag, whatever. Everyone's sleeping on Algo. I've been seeing Algo doing decently, but I just obviously haven't gotten into it much. But look, overall, that's going to be it for the stream today. Just wanted to keep it real chill, real light for you guys. Just come on, hang out, answer questions, look at the market, go over some news, some TA. So I hope you guys do like this. Let me know. Do y'all want me to keep doing these little chill streams where we're not doing too much, just kind of hanging out, looking at the market? Let me know. They'll be about 45 minutes to an hour long, maybe a couple times a week, once or twice a week. So definitely let me know. Let me know if these are the type of things you want to see. And surely I will keep doing it. I have a video coming out about a Solana meme coin in a couple hours here. And then I made a full video about Solana a couple hours ago. So make sure that you do subscribe. I do have a Patreon. If you want to see all of the stuff that I'm buying, you can use the link down below to get the HG Algo, which is the indicator I designed to help you know exactly when to buy stuff. And then lastly, you can follow me on Twitter at TylerHillYT. You can follow me. I'll make announcements, do giveaways, post threads, airdrop opportunities, all that type of stuff. So yeah, definitely do all those things. Check them out if you'd like. If not, it's all good. Just again, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that I see you pretty damn soon in the next video. And guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. Peace out, everybody.